Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of my Unraid series. Today we're going to be talking about part 6, how to set up a download share along with how to set up qBitorrent with VPN. I believe that's going to be the bin hex from the bin hex repository. Alright, so we're going to go through how to set up a user share for downloads. We're going to go ahead and go through the motions of setting up the qBitorrent. But before we go any further, we want to make sure you guys have some type of VPN service for your qBitorrent application. The application or VPN application that I use for my server is going to be TrustZone. You can get a real cheap subscription with these guys, and I highly recommend it because they've just been very good to me. I feel very confident using their services. So you want to make sure you get it. So before we go any further, let's go ahead and set up a share for downloads. Okay, so let's go to the shares here. And we're going to go ahead and create a new share. And we're going to create the shares to strictly download to the cache directory. Okay, so this download folder is only going to be available to the cache. Alright, so I went ahead and opened up my downloads folder using Finder since I have a Mac. And the next step is going to go ahead, we're going to go ahead and install the qBitorrent with VPN. We're going to look for the bin hex version. So this is the bin hex qBitorrent VPN. Alright, we're going to go ahead and do an install. Alright, so we're going to make a slight change on the host path number 2. We're going to go ahead and change this to mount. And we're going to store this at the cache drive under downloads. Okay. Now, when I initially do the install, I like to make sure that everything's working first before we go ahead and activate the VPN. So we're going to change this to no for now. This is going to be set to custom. Alright, and that's pretty much it. So we'll go ahead and apply it. Alright, we give it a minute for it to download and install. Alright, and the install has completed successfully. Alright, we're going to go ahead and start it up, and let's go ahead and see if it starts up correctly. So we'll go to the dashboard, and then you go to WebUI to start this up. And once we have this open, we're going to go ahead and log in using our username of admin, and the password should be admin. If you're like me and you come across this screen, not to worry. What you'll have to do is manually set the password to admin. All right, to get us past this stage. All right, and the way you'll do it, you'll go ahead and use the terminal access via the Unraid WebUI. So you'll click on the terminal button here, and you go ahead and navigate to the qBitorrent VPN folder in your app data folder. All right, and the way to navigate to it is going to be like this. Okay, so once you're in this directory, and I'll provide the path in the comments below, in the description below. you're looking for a file called qBittorrent.conf or .config, and you go ahead and open that up. If you have Nano, go for it. And once this is open, we're going to go ahead and paste this line at the very bottom of the file. Okay. And in case you guys missed that, what I'll do is I'll also provide this as well in the description below. All right. Hit yes to save it. Okay, so now the file's been saved. We're going to go ahead and close this up because it's no longer needed. And we're going to go ahead and restart our qBittorrent VPN application. So we'll go ahead and stop. And then we'll restart it back up. And then we'll go ahead and log back in. All right. So now our password is now admin. And now we're in. Okay, so feel free to go ahead and change the password. It should be pretty quick. You can just go to the settings here and make the necessary changes. I believe it's going to be under one of these menus, but it should be pretty quick. Okay, so whatever you want to set your password to, you can set it here. But in this case, I'm not really worried about the password. I'll just keep it set to where it's at. I'll change this eventually. All right, so we have that done. Okay, next step is we are going to go ahead and make the necessary configuration. So we know that the VPN, we know that the qBittorrent application works. Now we just need to get it working with our VPN service. So we're going to go ahead and turn the option on for the qBittorrent. Go ahead and jump into the edit, and you're going to scroll down to where it shows the VPN enabled. You're going to change this to yes. You're going to go ahead and put in your username and password. All right, and also just to touch on this again, this is going to be set to your downloads folder. So if your downloads folder is located in your cache drive, you're going to specify the path. So in my case, it's going to be /mount/cache/downloads, and that's where my downloads folder is going to be at. Now you'll see just below it, it talks about a container path. Now this is what the container is going to reference this path. Okay, so it's going to reference it as /data, so which actually converts over to /mount cache downloads. That's going to be that folder that this is able to reference. All right, so once you have all this installed, you're going to select yes and make sure you put in your username and password, and you're going to go ahead and just to make sure that everything else is in there. We're going to go ahead and hit done for now. I still need to download the files needed for the TrustZone VPN. You have a total of 3 files that we're going to need to download. So we're going to go ahead and download those files now. So the TrustZone requires 3 different files. It's going to be your OVPN file. It's going to be your certificate files. There should be a .sir and a .pem file that's needed. So we're going to go ahead and download those files as well. Now a lot of the stuff I have blurred out. I just want to protect my privacy. I'm sure you can agree. So we'll go ahead and get these 3 files downloaded. Okay, and once you have all 3 files downloaded, you have the TrustZone VPN OVPN, the PM file, and the CER file. Once you have all 3 of those, let's go ahead and move back to our dashboard. And for this example, for my practice, I typically just put my files straight to the download folder using my share drive. So if you have a Mac, we're going to go ahead and use our Finder application tool, and we're going to go ahead and move those files over. Now I've already moved over the TrustZone .sir file and .pem. I also need to move over the OVPN file as well. So we're going to go ahead and move that over. Okay, so now all three of those files should now be downloaded. Let me try this one more time. Okay, so now all three of those files are now on the downloads folder on the cache drive. So we're going to go ahead and minimize this, and we're going to go ahead and log into our terminal because we need to move these into the OVPN folder location. So let's first go ahead and navigate to our downloads folder. And here you can see all three of those files are here, so we're going to need to move all three of those over to the OVPN folder. Now before we go any further, let's go ahead and make sure we have a folder created for OVPN. So let's go ahead and navigate to our binhex Docker. And you can see we don't have a folder called OVPN, or I'm sorry, OpenVPN here. We're going to go ahead and make one. And once that's made, all right, you can see now we have a folder for it. We're going to go ahead and go back to the other directory. That's going to be our downloads folder directory. And we're going to move all three of these files over to our other folder. So we're going to do MV, TrustZone VPN, Alright, so you can see how we have all three files selected. Now our path is going to be mount, user, app data, and then we're going to select binhex qBittorrent, and then we're going to make sure we also select open VPN folder. Okay, now all of our files are now located there, so let's go ahead and navigate there as well, just to make sure that our files are there. And as you can see, all three of those files are now there. So we're going to go ahead and go back to our main dashboard here. We're going to go ahead and hit start. And while this is booting up, we can go ahead and check the logs to make sure everything is looking good. And we show that everything looks like it's running. Okay, and now you can see here it says qBittorrent is listening on port 8080, which is what we want. You'll also notice some other stuff here. Amazon, I think here it is. It's checkip.amazon AWS. You can see how it does. It checks to see what the IP address is, and you can see it successfully picked a public IP address that's not mine. So this right here can tell us that the VPN is up and working. Now another way to check to make sure the VPN is working is by opening the application. So if we open up the application, okay, we go to WebUI, if we get to this screen, this tells us that the VPN is working, it's connected, and now it's asking us to go ahead and log in. Alright, and now we're logged in. So the qBittorrent is now up and working. We need to go in here real quick and select the path that we're going to be using. Alright, so our downloads path, alright, now by default it's going to be configured with /config BitTorrent downloads. We don't want that. Okay, what we want is if we go back to our dashboard and we go back to edit, okay, what you're looking for is, you see how it says right here, this is what we talked about, the /data. We're going to go ahead and copy that, and we're going to set that, all right, to our downloads folder. All right, so we're going to select this. We can just keep it like this, but we'll keep our incomplete torrents here. We'll do a /data /incomplete. All right, and that's where we're going to leave that at, and we can go ahead and hit save, and now we're ready to go. So anything that we download with the qBittorrent, it's going to save it to that folder. All right everyone, so that's pretty much it for this series or this episode, and we're going to go ahead and on the next video we're going to start setting up sonar and radar and lidar and start getting those set up and working, and this just gets us another step closer to having a pretty awesome server. All right everyone, so if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to drop those in the comments. I will put all the paths that we used in the bottom of the description so you can reference those a little bit faster. Again, thanks so much for checking this out. If you have, like I said, if you have any recommendations on future videos, please feel free to drop those in the comments also. I'd like to hear from you. All right everyone,